Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kristen. I was born with cystic fibrosis, and 19 years ago I received a double lung transplant, and 13 years ago I received a kidney transplant. Today I'm going to talk about the things that I learned from having cystic fibrosis and a double lung transplant and a kidney transplant. One of the things I learned was empathy and compassion, as well as being as non-judgmental as possible. I think once you have been through so much in your life and you have suffered and been through pain, you don't want other people to suffer or go through pain. I also learned the importance of advocating for yourself. So there's a lot of times where I had a problem and doctors didn't want to do anything, and I had to speak up and use my voice. And I was persistent, and sometimes I had to go to other doctors or seek other opinions, but it really is important to advocate for yourself, or else sometimes you're just not going to get the care that you need. Another thing that I learned, which kind of goes hand in hand with that, is listening to your body. So if your body is telling you something's wrong, you need to go to a doctor and get that checked out. And again, if your doctor doesn't want to do anything or says the tests are fine, and you know in your heart that there's something wrong, then you need to go to find another doctor, which again also goes hand in hand with learning to trust your intuition. If you know something is wrong and it's not right, then again, you need to do something about it. Another thing I learned was being diligent and disciplined. So with cystic fibrosis, you really had to do your therapy, your nebulizers, take your medication. With transplant, again, you need to take your medication, make sure it's 12 hours apart, or if you have 3 times a day medicine, set timers to make sure you take your medicine on time. Make sure you do any nebulizers that you have to do. Checking vitals also after transplant. If you notice your numbers aren't quite where they need to be, then you can speak up and say something. I also learned the importance of a support system. My family, I'm very lucky. I have a large family, and they've always been around. They've always been by my side. Anytime I needed a ride to a doctor or I was in the hospital, my family came to visit me. And, if you don't have family or friends, then maybe joining a community or finding a hobby that you like, and then finding like-minded individuals or religious places like churches or temples. It is important to have people that you can lean on. So especially for the future, if you are going to have a double lung transplant or any kind of transplant, it really is important to have a support system and people who can be there for you to not only take care of you, but also to bring you to doctor appointments and surgeries and things like that. I also learned perseverance, resiliency, and tenacity. So every time that I got knocked down or I had an illness or something went wrong, I never gave up hope, and I always fought and came back stronger. And, no matter how many times you get knocked down, it just matters that you get back up. I've also learned the importance of a spiritual practice. Prayer has been very important to me, and practicing meditation, going to yoga, being in nature, and just believing in a higher power have really helped me tremendously, as well as the power of mind over matter. I really believe in that thoroughly. I have always believed, even when times were really bleak and it didn't look good, or like with my lung transplant story, where I really had no reason to hope for a transplant, and I got one anyway. I just believed, and that alone can carry you a long way. And that goes hand in hand with the power of faith to move mountains. I also learned to appreciate not just the large things in life, but the small things. Just the little things that can bring a smile to your face or bring you joy or happiness. The little things that just lift up your day. I also learned the power of miracles. Again, with my double lung transplant and other things in my life, I have seen miracles happen. And so I believe in them. And, maybe I didn't believe in them as much before, but after experiencing several, I definitely believe in miracles. And the last thing I'm going to say today about what I learned is that I'm stronger than I give myself credit for. And I think probably everyone who has cystic fibrosis or has had a transplant is really stronger than they give themselves credit for. Because a lot of times you think like oh, I got sick again, maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I failed in some way. But everything that has been thrown my way, I have overcome. And so have you. So you too are stronger than you think you are. And I want to thank you for joining me on this video. I do have a blog in the section below in the description box. So if you want to check that out, that just will give you more of my history of illnesses and things I've overcome. So that's like my journey through cystic fibrosis and my 2 transplants. So if you want to give that a look, you can. And I just want to say thank you again. If you want to comment, that would be great. Maybe you can tell me what you learned from having cystic fibrosis, or if you had transplants, or maybe you didn't have any of those, but you've had other issues. So leave in the comments what you have learned. And thank you again.